Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Jakarta, Indonesia's the FIBA Asia Cup, game day 2. And yes, it's still July 15th. And yes, the game is between New Zealand and Lebanon. Well, New Zealand always in the running, looking to have another nice run towards the medals this year, just like in 2017. Look at that, they're trailing the Philippines along with Lebanon. Although Lebanon beat the Philippines, and Philippines also winning their big game over India earlier today. So now it's a very, very intriguing game. If New Zealand win this game, they will shoot up to the top of the table, obviously, because they beat India in their first game. If Lebanon win, they will go to 2-0 and clinch first place and go straight to the quarterfinals. So all hands on deck for this one. We think this is going to be tasty. We think maybe Lebanon has an advantage because of their experience. But nevertheless, one thing that you learn about the Tall Blacks is they will take on anybody. I'm Jeff Taylor, joined by Mark Mills. Mark.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think one of the edges that I pick out of this is that Lebanon are going to be a little bit more battle ready because of the game against the Philippines. You know, they didn't have an easy game like New Zealand had against India, so I think they've been challenged and tested a little bit more earlier in this tournament, and I think that will certainly pay out today. They also clearly have a bit more experience. Yes, they still have quite a few young players coming through the Lebanese roster, but for New Zealand, this truly is the next generation. You know, this is next-gen New Zealand. So many young superstars that they're trying to give experience to, and it may be an Asia Cup too early for them to hit their full potential. But after that India game, we don't really know how good this New Zealand team are. I think we may find out by the end of today's game.
I think you're right. We're going to have a pause now in the commentary for the playing of the national anthems of Lebanon and New Zealand.
Please remain standing for the national anthem of New Zealand.
Always good stuff, and so is this. Get ready for the Haka. Pero Cameron did many a Haka in his day. And ceremonial chant always takes place before New Zealand sporting events for the men's teams. And now they're going to finish their warm-ups. Ahmed El Yassin Al Shuwaili from Iraq, Yu Jung from Chinese Taipei, and also Park refereeing today's game. And we will get a look at the starting fives. That's Park Hyung-jin from Korea, the referee. So exciting times here today, folks. This is a big game. This is the biggest of the day, we think. Eli Shamon, Sergio Eldarwich, Kareem, Rafael Ezzedine, Wael Arakji, and Jonathan Arledge. All five of those guys played very well against the Philippines in their win. And then coming off the bench, Zenun, Mansour, Kayet, Gyokchan, Ali Mazir, and Gerard Hadidian, all playing for coach Jad El Haj. There he is. And what I think, and I think probably everybody agrees, the Cedars, Lebanon, are trending in the right direction. They have really found something special. Flynn Cameron, Cruz, Pero Hunt, Toey Smith-Milner, Taki Ferguson, and Sam Timmons in the starting five. And then it's going to be Max Darling, Sam Manunga, Taylor Britt, Tane Murray, Kyle coming off the bench. And for Pero Cameron, of course, the FIBA Hall of Famer as a player looking to make his mark as a coach. I did say Kyle, didn't I?
You did.
And did I miss anybody else? Oh, yeah, Isaac Davison, Jordan Hunt. So here we are. This is a much bigger test for New Zealand, Lebanon. But you know what? You know, sometimes I remember back in 2017 in Lebanon, New Zealand took on Lebanon and they beat them on their home floor, and that was a young New Zealand team.
And, you know, it's an old cliche, but you can only beat the teams that put in front of you, and that's exactly what New Zealand did on game day one. You know, you take some of the stats with a pinch of salt, their top points per game, top rebounds, top assists, fifth in three-point percentage, but they were impressive. You know, this is a young roster. This is new for a lot of these guys to play at this level, and they came in game day one and did a phenomenal job. For Lebanon, they will be really, really happy. And like you say, they're trending in the right direction. A big win against a tough Philippines team on game day one. And they're setting themselves perfectly to come out and put in another big performance today.
Transition, first, give me pin down at the end for Sham. First transition, I wanted to be first. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's play. We hit hard, let's go. 1, 2, 3,
So just minutes away here, just lots of interesting tidbits about all of these players. I mean, we were just really excited by Lebanon, how they were able to break open a close game against the Philippines. Maybe a little bit of good fortune when Philippines were
a little bit, but they made the most.
But at the end of the day, Lebanon played very well, and Philippines made a late run, and Lebanon held on, the Cedars.
And you have a feeling Arakji is going to be key again today. He had a huge game against the Philippines. And in the front court, his kind of partnership with Arledge was a key to their success in that Philippines game. Imagine they will work together again today. For New Zealand, they kind of spread the love in game day one, so we're still to see who the leaders are going to be for this Tall Blacks team.
Both Timmons and Smith-Milner in the team that beat Lebanon back in 2017. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome for what we think is the biggest game of the day. New Zealand taking on Lebanon here at the FIBA Asia Cup. We're underway in New Zealand. The Tall Blacks attacking the basket to the right, and Timmons using that big frame of his, getting up there and scoring with the putback for the Tall Blacks.
And that is going to be an important element of the game. The battle for the boards could be decisive in today's game. New Zealand looked really strong in game day one. They had 56 rebounds, and Lebanon will have to lock them out of that.
Actually over to Eldarwich, who was terrific the other night, missing his first. And Flynn Cameron with the rebound. Timmons able to pick up the basketball from Taki Ferguson, who left his feet and then laid off a short little pass. Cruz into Toy Smith-Milner, goes up, contact with Ezzedine. Now quickly, it's the drive, and YL Arakchi misses. And New Zealand certainly do not look out of place at the start of the game, that's for sure. They look like they've picked it up a notch already.
Yeah, defensive end will be impressive, how they slow down the likes of Arakchi. That was the problem that Philippines had. Arakchi just put the burners on at times and created so many opportunities for himself.
El Shamoun missing the layup. This could be a very high-scoring game. Has a similar feel to last night's game with Lebanon and Philippines. Basketball turned over, and unsportsmanlike foul. Cruz, Piro Hunt. So already 2 free throws.
Let's have a look. I'm not sure this camera angle, will it pick it up? Yeah, it's unsportsmanlike. His left arm pulls him on the hip. It's the right call by the officials. And I like the introduction of, you know, it's been here a few years now, but I liked it when they introduced it to stop teams just killing a game. You know, stop it. So many teams were just fouling in transition to slow the game down. And ultimately, this is a spectator sport, and that can't happen. So I'm glad, you know, that it's instilled that into players, that they can't just spoil the transition party for the other team.
Yep, we want to see Lebanon run, and we want to see New Zealand run. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of that. Arledge, the high flyer, hands it off to the captain, Arakchi. Arledge gets inside, scores. He's tough. There's Timmons. And Taki Ferguson gets in there.
It's a strong move, but the Lebanese defense is very, very good, particularly off ball. The amount of denial they've put into that offense was impressive. Certainly a different level for New Zealand to have to play at today.
El Shamoun missing from the arc. Good hands by Eldarwich. Cameron plays at UC Riverside, NCAA in America. Bounce pass to Timmons, and the dump to Toy Smith-Milner. Toy Smith-Milner. And again, Cameron challenging, but YL Arakchi brings down the rebound. Ezzedine slips, hands it off to Eldarwich. Gets an open look and makes it.
That's a good recovery from Arledge in the end. Ezzedine to hand it off to Eldarwich on the pick and roll, even though he lost his footing, stayed with the play.
Oh boy, Taki Ferguson has started hot tonight. He's got a 3.
And you're right, both of these teams are quite happy to run early shot clock options. They don't have to get into a half-court offense. They want to run at pace.
Arledge from downtown, wow.
And you can't say that Piro Hunt's defense wasn't up to it there.
Boy, that was a great finish from Flynn Cameron.
Unreal. Falling out of bounds and just manages to scoop it up. The spin on that off the glass as well. This is going to be a good replay.
El Hadj was calling for a travel, but even if it was still a great make. He's got a chance for a three-point play.
Big problem here for Lebanon now. Arledge picks up his second foul. It's going to force them, but not a bad replacement to come back on board, though. Gökçen, 19 points and 8 rebounds. He shot 80% from outside in game one. He was the surprise package.
He was a revelation.
Yeah, he really was.
Much like Suda has been for Japan.
Yeah, yeah, similar impact.
So Flynn Cameron, one of the many in the Cameron family that plays basketball, goes out. Should say that both Smith Milner and Sam Timmons played big minutes in the 86-82 New Zealand win back in 2017 in Lebanon in front of a raucous crowd, and played very well. Scored a lot of points, grabbed a lot of rebounds. Here's Taylor Britt checking in, and Tane Murray missing with his first attempt. But look at the New Zealanders get after the basketball on the boards. Tane Murray, and already New Zealand playing much faster, playing much crisper, much better than what we saw against India.
Yeah, you know, they're having to, and I'm sure Coach Cameron has built them up towards that. And I wonder if Lebanon at any point have used that defeat in the last Asia Cup to motivate them, to drive them. You know, losing in your home tournament, that's going to add a little bit of extra spice. That would certainly motivate me to return the favour here and take the win off New Zealand.
Pretty much, I mean, you had Wael Arakji and Ali Mazir that were in that game. Here's Ezzedine, but everybody else is new.
I'm sure they were watching it, though.
Ali Mazir, or rather, Wael Arakji gets it over to, there's Darwich! Senior El Darwich. And Taylor Britt has it knocked away. A kick on Wael. They used to call him the Lebanese Dragic. I've been reliably informed. But how about El Darwich? Goodness me, he has got a burst of speed. He can shoot it, so you got to guard him. Very interesting player.
He just went past Tane Murray like Tane Murray was standing still. That's a pretty impressive feat.
Max Darling in the game, passing to the corner. And Tane Murray showed that three-point shooting stroke a couple of days ago.
Yeah, he did. Went out for 13 points in that game.
Eli Shamoun rather, and Sam Manuga trying to box out Ezzedine. And the ball goes out of bounds off the Cedars. So New Zealand get it back. Isaac Davidson now comes into the game for Taki Ferguson.
A little over 5 minutes into the game, and I'm trying to make my mind up. Do I think either of these teams really have the advantage? Clearly New Zealand have a 2-point lead, but I don't feel like either team really.
Well, I'm already surprised by how good New Zealand looked, to be honest. I guess it was hard to base an observation after the game against India because they just overmatched them. Oh, goodness me, he was going up for a rim rocker.
Wow. That would have been a huge poster if he'd thrown that one down.
That would have been. Well, Max Darling, who popular player, 0-0 going in for the flush.
Hadidian was just nowhere near him either. He just got like almost his elbow. That's how high Darling was on that flush.
Out of the Nelson Junior Association, played at Christ College in Christchurch High School, making his Tall Blacks debut at this tournament.
I got to go and see Nelson Giants play when I was in New Zealand traveling. And you'd think their mascot would be a giant, right?
What was it?
It's a rather large ant.
All right, I wonder what that is.
So a giant ant.
Ah, right, nice one.
So the little play on
Very
it.
creative.
But yeah, I wasn't expecting it. This large ad came out and I wasn't expecting it.
Maybe the wizard had something to do with that. And Davidson commits the foul.
But I like that foul. And, you know, I don't mind that foul if I'm Coach Cameron. That's just someone chasing someone off the perimeter and closing out a driving lane. At this stage of the game, particularly as they're not particularly in foul trouble, I think it's the right way to approach it. You've got to keep chasing as hard as you can.
Eldarwich has a good pass intercepted by Isaac Davidson. He quickly gets, oh, look at the pass to Meninga. Great Tall Blacks basketball.
And you talked about it in their first game as well. Davidson having that vision. As soon as he gains possession, his head is up. He's looking for the transition pass. And the pass is always going to be accurate.
Arakchi gets right in there. Goes past Meninga. And now the Tall Blacks, I think watching them play right now reminds us that they were the highest scoring country at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Isaac Davidson thinking he was fouled, waiting for the whistle. Or maybe the shot was blocked. That's what Pero Cameron's asking anyway. Look at Arakchi just go right, kind of past Meninga. And this is Davidson. Look at this. You're right, heads up. And then Tane Murray just has the ball just a split second before he gets it to Meninga. That's some full court pressure.
I think it's more just to slow down and burn a bit of Lebanon's shot clock off, so they don't have so much to play with in the half-court offense.
Arakchi goes behind his back, goes down. Meninga, rebound, outlet to Britt. Oh, almost held by Arakchi. And Britt trying to get in there, and Gyokchan make sure that shot does not go up, but a foul was called.
A technical foul's been given.
Yep, Ali Mazer.
I'm not sure how clear the officials have to be. They are being very quick with the technicals, but they're being very consistent. So as a player, you kind of know where the line is.
There's not. Oh, he's teed him up.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
sorry,
a technical foul. Yeah. Straight away.
The one thing we've learned about this FIBA Asia Cup, folks, in case you're just joining us, is there have been some technicals. And I mean, we had 2 Chinese players ejected last night.
Yeah, we had 4 technicals in that game.
Can you imagine? I mean, China were up 14 on Bahrain and late in the first half, and then they had a technical, and then another player started complaining about his teammate getting a technical, and he got a technical, and then that player got really upset. It was Zhao Ray, is that right?
Yeah, was the first guy to get thrown out, and then Sun got thrown out after that.
So, and suddenly the lead disappeared, and it went right down to the last second. So you don't want to pick up technicals. You don't want to talk to the referees. They'll talk to you if you speak civilly to them.
And it's also the timing.
And it is the timing, and it's how you do it.
Yeah, it's don't do it in the heat of the moment. Don't do it when the call's just been made. Wait for some dust to settle. When the referee moves away from the situation, he's finished signaling to the officials table, then you have a conversation with them. They don't want you jumping at them as they've made the call.
So Lebanon trailing by 5 after a little bit of indiscipline. And Gyokchan missing from deep. Taylor Britt is passed, and Kayet hustles down, but then doesn't control it. We really think he's an exciting talent, and great job at Eldarwich to pull him away.
Yep, absolutely. You know, he comes with so much energy, but with that comes that kind of pent-up enthusiasm.
Boy, Tane Murray missing. Gyokchan gets it to Kayet. Mansour, or rather, Kayet has it. That was Mazir, excuse me, not Mansour. And the drive not there by Hadidian, and the basketball goes the other way. Now, Sam Timmons comes into the game. Great work, and he's going deep to his rotation. I wondered if he would, but he is.
10 deep already.
Yep.
Coach Cameron's gone in, and I think that's the key. And this is one of the advantages they have. They may all be young, but I don't think there's a drop-off of quality. As you go down the bench, I don't think there's particularly, you know, weak links in the chain for them.
Davidson gets it to Timmons. Oh, Flynn Cameron back to Timmons. Boy, they're making me dizzy watching so many passes. Fantastic basketball on offer by the Tall Blacks. And for those of you who doubted, myself included, that they could play like this, we now know they are for real. Lebanon calling timeout. Great job. It's all about the team and sharing the basketball.
I will give the ball for Biggs. We still have 4 or 5 seconds left. Come on. Karim again instead of G. I want to open 5 now.
And we have continuation out of this.
So give me Karim. Mike. Sorry. I want Ali. Well in the corner and Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo, you go for the back screen. Then keep going to get Well. Well, you come on top. Karim, you receive the ball, great. Nothing happened. Pass it to Well. Hike and Well on top. Okay? But the most important is transition. And we don't have fouls to give, so whatever we miss, just one back. Protect the basket. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Hey, 2 stops in a row.
early, guys. Yalla, yalla.
Defense on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Defense.
Hey, let's keep talking. Let's keep talking on defense. Let's go.
2 stops in a row.
Certainly is a good way to get ready for the game, right? The Haka.
Yeah, the Haka definitely does. Probably gets the opponent ready as well.
Yes, I think it increases the focus you'd almost have, because you know you're about to literally go into battle with someone.
Ali Mazir trying to get away from Tane Murray. You know, Iraq likes to put the ball on the deck and go to the hole as much as possible. Gukchan gets in and forced out by Timmons. Good job. Good D from the Kiwis. Into the corner. Max. Gukchan turns his way in, and foul called on Timmons.
I think it's on Cameron in the post.
Okay, Cameron, sorry. Yep, you're right.
Timmons was just a little bit late with the help in that situation. I don't think he identified the mismatch early enough.
So Smith-Milner back. Max Darling goes to the bench.
And for me, New Zealand have a nice kind of almost front court trio with Smith-Milner, Timmons, and then Meninga. I like the way they can rotate through. Usually he'll have at least 2. Maybe sometimes he'll drop down to one of those 3. But it provides that consistency, and they're all really high-level players.
And Taki Farrenson. Good job, Timmons. Over to Flynn Cameron. Now to Timmons. And bounce pass into Taki.
It's got to come out.
Smith-Milner gets it off in time. Ali Mazir, tough pass to Iraqi. Boy, that was dangerous pass.
That's good teamwork,
the basket. Ezzedine. Cameron goes hard to the basket. Ezzedine goes up for the block now. Wael Iraqi, I don't think he's going to wait. No, he will. Ali Mazir almost walked. Kayat.
Nice shot.
And if you're watching in New Zealand, Wyatt, he's not an old guy. He's a teenager.
Yeah, 19 years old, right?
Plays at Limoges. in France. Cameron drifts in, banks it in. And Gyokchan gets up that shot. Well, I have to say New Zealand have been very good value here in the first quarter. They lead Lebanon 22-17.
Yeah, that's an impressive first quarter from New Zealand. That will have settled some of their nerves and also answered some of the questions they've been asked. Good game. Not shooting great from outside, neither team is. Most of the action is happening in the paint.
As we look back at the top plays of the quarter, I think the one thing that kind of surprises me looking at this game is the size of Timmins and Smith-Milner against this Lebanese front line. I for some reason, I kind of fooled myself into thinking that New Zealand weren't going to be towering above them or that big, but they look much bigger, don't they? Bigger and stronger. Timmins and
I think so.
Milner, definitely.
I think what you'll see is it's going to be interesting because the box score will be slightly, I feel it will be slightly misleading at the end of the game because you're not necessarily going to see massive, I don't think, massive numbers from Timmins or Smith-Milner in this game. But everything the New Zealand do, I think, will build off them defending their paint and providing some kind of focus on the offensive end. Doesn't need to be necessarily where the shot comes from, but at least draw some of the defense in to have to defend the paint a little bit harder. And like I was saying, with that three-man rotation, with Meninga included into that, I think they bring a really difficult thing to match up against. We look at a lot of other teams in this Asia Cup, they might, you know, some have one really quality big man and it falls away after that. Some may have two, but here for New Zealand, I think they have three.
Well, download the app, folks. Courtside 1891 for your video stream schedules and scores of this FIBA Asia Cup and obviously all of the qualifiers for the FIBA Basketball World Cup, which will be staged here in Jakarta next year, in Japan and the Philippines. So as you look at Kayet, you know, we're talking about Timmins and Smith-Milner and, you know, what kind of output. But when they did play, this is 2017 against a different team, they did produce. I mean, Smith-Milner had 15 points and 6 rebounds. Timmins had 13 points and 8 rebounds.
Yeah, I think Timmins was one of the top rebounders in that tournament. I think he was like 5th top rebounder in the entire tournament.
So when they made the decision to go young, New Zealand, and get valuable experience, you have to say probably that experience is paying off tonight. Gyokchan and the Timmins back to cruise control. That was a little short.
Yeah, not a good option on the offensive end there for New Zealand. Timmins had developed the mismatch and they didn't utilize it well enough.
So Ezzedine called for the foul. Excuse me, Timmins called for the foul. Pounding against Ezzedine. You can see that Timmins is like, why are you making that call all the way out there? And the guy on the baseline isn't, but then he realized, I better be quiet. Kayet from the right, and rattles out. Another foul called.
But you saw how Timmins approached the referee then. He initially asked, then stopped, and he waited for the dust to settle a little bit. And then with a smile on his face, just asked the question then, can you explain? I was putting an arm bar onto him. How is that wrong? And he was like, oh, okay, fair enough, and walked away.
So that foul's on Ezzedine, and here's Arakci coming up with a turnover and scoring. That's where Lebanon are dangerous. They will force turnovers and score, or they'll capitalize on those turnovers.
And for me now, New Zealand need to slow this down a bit. Lebanon are starting to take control of the game, and that's because New Zealand aren't reading the tempo.
Elise Chamon. Wael Arakci banks it in. That was a very good make from Wael Arakci.
I don't think there's an angle that he can't make the shot from. It's unreal how controlled he is when he gets so much contact.
Cruz gets inside, follows up the miss. Timmins in there, keeping it active as well.
And Cameron doesn't need to make that play. Literally, Arakji is in no man's land. He's just bringing the ball up over the half. He's no real threat to you. And even more importantly, there's no real chance of you getting that steal. And all you've done is picked up the second team foul within 2 minutes of the quarter and your second personal foul.
So that brings Taylor Britt back into the game. Number 5, guarding Arakji. Trying to, and there's Arakji taking some contact and going out of bounds, and now a push.
Is it on Taylor Britt?
Yep, on Taylor Britt with a push.
That's three early fouls for New Zealand, and
that was while Arakji getting the steal from Flynn Cameron and going down.
Lebanon are a really good free throw shooting team. They shot 88% in that first game, so you really don't want to be sending them to the line.
So yeah, New Zealand already in a little bit of getting close to being over the limit. They got 3, more than halfway there. Long time to play in this quarter. Taki, Farrenson. Boy, good D from Kayat.
Great D. He's doing a lot of the things that don't appear on the box score right now, Kayat.
Bounce pass, and Gelchan puts it up and in. Back to a 1-point game. Oh boy, Kayat's defense is really making an impact. Here he goes. Drives in. Oh, he misses the layup. Ball slipped out of his hands, it appeared.
For me, just need to be more aggressive. He had the space to throw that one down. He has the athleticism to do it, that's for sure. Another steal.
Well, yeah, that was kind of a careless pass by Timmons. They like to share the basketball around, and Arakji fouled. Goes to the line for an and 1. And it's on.
I think he's saying on Piero Hunt.
And I'm waiting just to confirm it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Piero Hunt. So New Zealand, they had the momentum. Now they're trailing, and Lebanon going to the line. And this is where, obviously, as a coach, you got to read the game and you got to know what adjustments to make if you're Piero Cameron.
Where's the next one? They get last. We don't get lucky with last. They have to kick out. Okay? We get better at that. Stop challenging the ball. Keep retreating in a wall. You challenge it, it's going to be contact and looks bad. All right? And don't make silly passes down here. We ain't got it. Easy pass. Keep turning it buzzsaw, but under control. All right? Okay? Going back in there. We're pushing the ball. We're in the 41 if we don't have anything. Okay? Get your man under control. That's what it's about. Defensively, get your man under control. All right? We good? Let's go.
Let's go.
I remember watching Piero Cameron as a player, and you always thought he was going to be a coach one day. An absolute student of the game, as we see the steal from Arakji and just gets out for the easy score. But the points he's making are absolutely right. Easy, sensible passes. Don't overcommit on the defensive end. Just provide a contest to it. Don't reach in. Don't be stepping forward, because that contact will be called by the officials.
And it is indeed a 3-point play.
Interesting to see now Lebanon putting even more pressure on. It's the defense that's got them back into the game and got them their lead. So Lebanon are looking to squeeze it even harder now as they sit in the zone.
Taylor Britt, Smith Milner, and back to Tane Murray. Oh, traveling.
And I like that defensive decision from Coach El Haj. Up to now, 2 from 12 from outside for New Zealand. And dropping into this zone is basically saying to New Zealand, we're going to be in this zone until you start hitting threes. And at the moment, New Zealand aren't in a position to answer that. The zone will have a big impact and should minimize the effect that the size that New Zealand has.
Well, that's why Tane Murray has checked into the game, and Sam Meninga. They're both good shooters. Smith Miller can shoot it. We've seen Taki Farrington make one, I think, already tonight. Arledge back in the game and falls down. Here's Taylor Britt, and fouled by Gyeokchan in the backcourt.
Gyeokchan just needs to be a little bit careful. I could almost hear the cogs ticking from the referee. Was that unsportsmanlike? He was looking for it. That's borderline. We've seen potentially them called for less than that.
So a chance to tie it up or take the lead. So in the game now is Jordan Hunt, number 15 for New Zealand. So Taki at the line and pulls his team to within 1 as Per Cameron looks on. Per's daughter, by the way, right now in Hungary playing at the FIBA Under-17 Women's Basketball World Cup for New Zealand. Just thought I'd get that in there while we saw him. Taki Farrington makes both. Isaac Davidson comes into the game. And Farrington goes out.
New Zealand seem to be stepping up the defensive pressure now as well. They're staying in man-to-man. They're just chasing a little bit harder, putting a bit more pressure on the ball.
Arledge hands it off to Arakji. Tough play, but the catch was made by Mansour. Now it's passed to Arledge. Boy, Jordan Hunt doing a good job keeping his hands up, but you got to get it after that first miss because Arledge isn't going to miss twice.
Yeah, you can't afford to give up your boards so easily, but it was always going to be one of the keys was how hard Lebanon crashed the boards at both ends.
Nifty move by Taylor Britt, but not able to complete it. Now, Lebanon up 2 and attacking. Eldarowicz to Arledge, banks it in. And Lebanon move ahead by 4.
It's a 13-4 run in this quarter. Really have turned it on. Very impressive from Lebanon to be able to make that change.
Davidson reads, hands it off. Beautiful play. Hunt coming in on the baseline. And again, the value of Davidson as a passer.
Yeah, just a pure creator. Clearly more likely to pass than the ball to shoot it. And I'm sure that's within the scouting report for Lebanon, so how they approach him defensively needs to be slightly different.
Arakji, that explosive move, he misses, but
I don't think Hunt's going to be on the floor very long.
Well, he's got to be able to box Arledge out, and that's not easy at the best of times.
Yeah, no, Smith Milner's now going to come in for Hunt. Smith Milner was locking Arledge out of the game at times. You know, bodying up to him, providing the resistance that was needed. But can Smith Milner do it?
Well, Hunt got some
for 35 minutes.
Hunt got some words from Cameron as he walked past. Now ours misses the first. Remember, this New Zealand team's average age 23. And Lebanon 26 years of age is their average.
Yeah, and Smith Milner is the vet for New Zealand at 26 years old.
Yeah. He's also the captain. Good job, Smith-Milner getting across midcourt to Tane Murray. And remember, Murray is the shooter, and Lebanon will be aware of that. There goes Britt. Good ball handling by Britt. Gets to the baseline, finds Murray, gets blocked. Good recognition again by El Darwich. They know exactly who New Zealand want to get the basketball to.
That's great defense by Lebanon, sitting in that 2-3 zone, flexing just enough, but not too much that they become distorted. But for me, the bigger thing here is that New Zealand ran that offense way too slowly. They need to move the ball far quicker to be able to create the space they need to get shots away.
El Darwich from the stripe. So they catch a break there. I'm not sure that was a good shot either. Here comes Tane Murray. Uh-oh, he gets into the paint, explodes, gets blocked again by El Darwich. Smith-Milner, though, in the right place at the right time. They battle for the rebound. Davidson knocks it back out to Smith-Milner. Davidson explodes, and the ball knocked out of his hands. And Smith-Milner trying to pressure Arakji. In fact, he was pressuring him, but he pressured him right out of bounds.
That's pretty good footwork, to be fair. He was almost falling over, almost recovered. When you think of the foot speed of Arakji against Smith-Milner, that's a tough foot race for Smith-Milner to stay in the game.
Yep, not ideal.
But look at the defense from Lebanon, though. That is so strong. It's an impregnable wall right now that Lebanon putting in front of them, and that's exactly why. And New Zealand have only scored 6 points in this quarter.
Just under 3 minutes remaining, and Arakji back to the line. And makes the first. The most caps of the New Zealander, of the Lebanese in this team. And he gets both of them to drop. Taki Ferguson open and knocks it down again.
And that is critical for New Zealand, because it's the only way you're going to force Lebanon out of that zone is by starting to hit threes. While Lebanon sit in the zone, it is a tough ask for New Zealand to keep their scoring pace going.
That was the second three for Taki Ferguson. I think also that little backcourt pressure helped New Zealand that time. There's Arledge. Oh boy, missed it so badly that Cruz Piro Hunt almost didn't pick it up, and ball batted out of bounds. Would you call this a chess match between the two coaches right now?
Yeah, it really is. I'm loving how much the coaches are putting into this as well, because they're looking at the finest details of how they can adjust how their team are playing right now.
Cameron explodes, tough shot. Oh boy, did you see Arakji boxing out Timmons, keeping him away from the rebound? El Darwich, good job, New Zealand getting out on the shooters. And Arakji, he knew that Timmons wasn't gonna be able to come out and fully guard him. He would have gone past him.
Yeah, he just had to lure him in enough. He had to push him back enough with that threat to get the space for the shot.
The touch pass over to Menenga. Taki Ferguson feet set. That's his third. Boy, he's coming up trumps, isn't he, for the Tall Blacks?
I can't see Lebanon staying in this zone for much longer. It's done its job. It got them back into the game. It got them the lead. And now that New Zealand are starting to shoot, particularly Farrington, it's a problem.
Excellent work driving Arakji.
Yeah, 16 points now. It's just unstoppable. He doesn't look to do anything amazing, but in total, it is all amazing.
Menenga grazed the net, and boy, New Zealand looked out there. It fell right to Timmons.
What a game. We expected this one to be the close one today, and it's certainly not disappointing. You know, you describing it as a chess match, I think, yeah, you're so right. This is where the coaches earn their salaries, because they will have a big impact on the game today. How they make their adjustments, how they react to what the other coach puts on the floor will make or break whether their teams come away with the win.
One more minute. Rest.
Hey, great take, baby, great take.
Foul. أخذ advantage عليه. Foul. Push him. Let him take it from outside. We have one foul to give. There's nowhere to watch him scoring. Don't forget from the corner. You stay. This guy will support. This guy will come back. We have one more foul to give. We have 2 offense. They have 1. I want one side. Okay. You watch what I want. I want Yo-Yo here. Sergio. Give me Karim.
Boy, Taki Farrinson, huge threes, but while Arakji is just such a big game player.
Yeah, he is. But I like the move from Coach El Hadj, though. 1 minute and 4 seconds left until halftime. He's taken Arakji out. Arakji will now have a much longer break.
Farrinson, Taki has 13 points. Arakji, meanwhile, has 16 points.
And it looks like he's in pain on the bench.
Yeah, he's...
I don't know if that's stitch or something along those lines that he's suffering.
Well, that is what you call a captain's minutes right there. Playing a little hurt, playing for his country. Mansour. Oh, Darwich, Gyokchin, pump fake, and Ezzedine rebounds that miss. Bounce pass into Gyokchin, and they're surrounded by tall blacks, but he gets it up and in. Those rebounds so important. Good job by Lebanon. Oh boy, what a pass to Meninga, and then they foul.
Yeah, the call was slightly late, but it's the right call.
Rather.
The call was slightly late, but it is the right call.
Yeah. No, I mean, even Kaya acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's an easy one.
That was a no-brainer. Even though Kaya was acting like he was surprised, but
look at Ezzedine's face.
Look at the replay, guys. Well, look who's back. He's holding his right side while Arakji's Ezzedine goes out. 20.4 seconds on the clock, 14 on the shot clock. Tane Murray for 3. That's what they want for their sharpshooter.
Yeah. And now down for Lebanon just to run the clock down. No real surprise that the ball's going to stay in the hands of Arakji, I imagine. Surely they'll try and create a mismatch for him to exploit. Now he's got the mismatch he wanted.
Oh, dear. And they did not call. They did not call a foul.
Timmons thought he blown for the foul.
New Zealand nation breathing a sigh of relief, and Lebanon saying, why did you blow the whistle? Watch this again.
No, I like that. That's good defense. I don't think he's pushed him over. Arakji's pushed himself to the floor. That's a bit of a flop in my mind. It's Arakji's hand that has hit
Gotta
Timmons.
be honest, I agree, but I've seen it called.
Oh, yeah.
Lebanon leading at 39-36 over New Zealand at halftime.
And there's the brain trust going to work for New Zealand. And yeah, it's been an interesting one. New Zealand starting to find some form from outside. 4 from 18 in that half. Sorry, Lebanon not shooting well from outside at all. And New Zealand dominating the rebounding battle, but it's Lebanon that are leading the game, so that's all that really matters. But for New Zealand, they really do need to get that three-point shot going. Arakji leads all scorers with 16 for Lebanon, and Farrinson primarily from the perimeter with 13 for New Zealand.
Well, that was the steal. That's what Arakji does. Definitely brings that to the table. He is hounding other guards. It's very sneaky. He distributes the basketball. Gyokchin. So Arakji, 16 points, a couple assists, 2 steals, 6 of 13 from the floor. And that was him getting to the line after that. This was Arledge. Pretty tough assignment for Hunt.
Yeah, exceptionally tough assignment. He doesn't match up well against Arledge, and you saw the quick change to bring Smith Milner back into the game. But that was impressive, primarily for me on the defensive end in that quarter from Lebanon, though, holding New Zealand to just 14 points. New Zealand really didn't have an answer. You know, it took them a while to work out how they could beat that Lebanon zone defense.
This is a terrific drive, and Hunt's 2 points. New Zealand have played 11 of their 12 players so far, so he definitely has used, gone to his bench. And then Tane Murray finding it difficult going up against El Darwich, who blocked him out on the perimeter and on his drive. But Taki Farrington has really given the team a lift with his three-point shooting, 3 of 5 from deep. Overall play, been very solid.
Just wonder how heavily New Zealand are going to have to lean on that three-point shooting in the second half, though. I think if it comes down to New Zealand having to shoot the ball well from outside to win the game, this is probably going to be an 11-and win, if I'm honest. I don't think New Zealand are the pure shooting team that maybe we saw in the previous game when we saw Japan. That's an extreme example, but I don't think New Zealand are at that level. They don't want to focus fully on the outside game. And if Lebanon force them to, it could be quite a slow offense for New Zealand. One of the lower scoring games, potentially. 39-36. We've seen plenty of 100-point scorelines already in the Asia Cup as some teams have really gone to town.
Speaking of Japan, a record 27 three-pointers in the last game against Syria.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation? Representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands. It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.
But, and he's got a three-point play. Great effort from Haka Al-Mawani. Here's Proctor with a spin and scores, and that's 2 in a row for Tyrese Proctor, starting to see his talent bloom here. Lincoln Chin going out big time from number 0.
That play just born from pure determination for Lin.
Puts his attempt up, and he's kind of off target. And Choi, oh, what a beautiful pass!
Wow. That's absolute vision from Choi. Full flow.
Freddie Ibrahim, Jordan, trying to get a big win, their first win, and Al-Mawani throws it down. All he's done is come back into the game. Ursa gets it to Chisholm, and he lays it up, and Bahrain have moved back in front. Incredible.
That's the exact word. Incredible.
Why did they leave him? Again, the handoff, oh, the great block. Oh, Mullins just picks up his third. Huge block.
Oh, potentially
behind the back to split the D, hands it off to Hamuda. Are you kidding me? Wow, electric stuff.
There's the play. Oh, splits the defense with the behind the back.
That was the play of the game right there. Jang gets it to who? Back to Jang for 3. The offensive rebound, and he's fouled. Can you believe it?
He's been pretty quiet in the second half, but what a time to wake up.
He was there, the ball fell to him kindly, really, and he was alert enough to go straight back up and look at the joy. (39-36), Lebanon on top of New Zealand, and big reason why the 16 points of Wael Urakchi, of course, is all-round play, but his scoring has really been crucial, as it usually is, as it always is, and his leadership as well. I don't think Lebanon win this game if he doesn't have a big game, Mark.
It sounds horrible to say this. I'm not sure they win many games in Asia Cup if he doesn't have big games. I think he's absolutely crucial to what they do. And it's not just about the offense. The offense grabs the headlines. The offense, you know, makes the box score look great. But you see he's stealing the ball. He's hustling hard. You know, you were talking about it. He's boxing out guys that are 20 centimeters taller than him. He's not, you know, he's not just an offensive only. He's not a one-end player. You know, he's certainly a two-way player. And, yeah, he is the linchpin to this Lebanese team.
And I think it's fair to say as well that New Zealand would be in a little bit of trouble if Taki Farrington hadn't showed up to play tonight, because he has been tough. He has hit some tough shots, and he's moved well without the ball, and he's got those 13 points.
Yeah, so vital. He's 3 from 5 from outside. Really, to a certain degree, saved New Zealand in that second quarter. New Zealand were struggling. They didn't really have a solution on how to break down Lebanon's really quite strong zone defense. And Farrington coming in and shooting the ball well has opened up some gaps in that zone defense now, and is also going to play on the mind of Coach El Haj whether he should stay in that zone, whether he needs to go back to man or not. That's going to be key if Farrington or other Tall Blacks players can step up and shoot the ball well. But we expected this game to be close. I think we both kind of agreed maybe Lebanon had the slight edge, but we have to be impressed by New Zealand. We were worried they were untested after that demolition of India. India were poor that day. They've looked a lot better today when we've seen them play. But I think New Zealand are really tackling their first test strongly. You know, such a young roster for...
Yeah, they came out ready.
Yeah, they did.
So I give full marks to the coaching staff for getting that team ready for that, because they were coming up against a very confident Lebanon team that took care of business last night against a very good Philippines team. Philippines surprised me how good they were and how good they are.
Yeah, Lebanon, from Lebanon's point of view, they'll be, you know, content because they've got through that first test against the Philippines. They've got through what was quite a tough start to this game. New Zealand were looking strong. They were looking very fluid on the offensive end, and they've taken control for me. Lebanon have taken control back of the game away from New Zealand. So Lebanon will be pretty happy. 1.5 games out of their 3 games down in this group stage, and they'll be happy with where they are, but they know that they're in for a tough 20 minutes.
Well, you got to remember the reward for winning the group is you go straight to the quarterfinals.
That's a big reward, right?
You finish second or third, and you also get to go into a qualification for the quarterfinals, and you know that's going to be a tough game. So when it comes to this group, Group D are going to cross over with Group C, and that's Japan's group. Now Japan are, I'm thinking, in all likelihood, they're going to win the. Well, they're going to go up against Iran for first place in Group C. But if you finish second in this group, New Zealand. Remember, New Zealand have to play the Philippines.
Yeah.
You could end up playing either Iran or Japan. Sorry, if you finish third, you can end up playing Iran or Japan. If you finish second, you would probably, or you are going to face either Kazakhstan or Syria.
Yeah, so there's a lot at stake right here. And from Lebanon's perspective, a win here today, barring a miracle performance from India on the last game on Sunday, Lebanon would go top of the table. They'd go through. That would be our presumption. Might be a little bit presumptuous as I'm looking across the court and I can see the India players sitting over there. They might have something to say about that. But that's how you would see it, that a win tonight for Lebanon pretty much secures them top spot in the group. And like you say, direct move forward to the quarterfinals, which is key. Extra rest, lower seed that you'd face in the next round, a team that maybe aren't quite as in form. So this is, you know, a huge game for Lebanon. It really is.
I think Lebanon actually, if they win, they will go straight to the quarterfinals because they would have beaten both the Philippines and New Zealand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. And India have got 2 losses to their names already, so yeah, they're straight through. And that's huge for Lebanon to be able to take that, rest some of those bones. Arakji obviously looking a little bit beaten up right now, so an extra couple of days rest, I'm sure he'd be more than happy with that. So a huge 20 minutes ahead of us for New Zealand. I'm sure they'd be the same. I'm sure they quite happily avoid that tricky quarterfinal qualification game.
Transition defense, we have to open like it's in overtime now. First 5 minutes will be
Well, you want all the information from this FIBA Asia Cup, you need to download the app, scan in the barcode. Teams, rosters, results, scores.
I mean, been impressed how calm this New Zealand team look. They're so young, but they don't seem phased by the game at all. They seem pretty relaxed.
Yeah, they've been practicing hard. So New Zealand start with possession. Down by 3 points to the Cedars. And Clint Cameron gets inside, and who have they called the foul on?
I think it's take your pick.
Yep, it's
on Arakji,
no,
I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think he's signaled 20.
Yep, it's Arakji.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was signaling.
Yeah, they didn't want it to be Arledge. That would have been
21.
his third.
So Pedro Cameron watches as his point guard and son, Flynn Cameron, at the line.
And this has been one of, you know, the one downside from that performance against India was their free throw shooting. They only shot 61%. That was the lowest after game day 1 of any team.
New Zealand 7 of 10 at the line tonight. And driving in, Eli Shamoun, and pushes the lead up to 4 points for Lebanon. Cruz, oh boy, what a great catch that was by Timmons. But then he goes up, didn't get the elevation on the jump, and Arledge and Gyokchun got their hands up and got the block. Gyokchun going up against Smith-Milner. Good job, Eldarwich. Oh boy, what a quick move and quick leaper he is, quick jumper.
Yeah, it's that quick first step that just created the lane for him to exploit.
Taki Ferguson had it knocked away. Boy, the Lebanese defense is really effective here, knocking the ball away.
I think for me, Timmons now needs to be a provider, a facilitator. Last couple of plays down, they've crashed hard on him. He needs to move the ball out quicker.
Oh, what a move from Arakci, and then he missed the layup.
Needed to go to his other hand.
Yeah.
He was too reliant on his left hand there. Needed to go to his right hand on that layup.
And Gyokchin called for the block. So Timmons goes out. Here's it from his coach after this. And then Eldarwich exploded. Got to the rim, exploded to the rim. 6 points, biggest lead of the game for Lebanon. Key moment of the game is the Tall Blacks under pressure.
Yeah, they truly are right now. They need to get the scoreboard going.
Gyokchin gets it inside to Menenga. Stays with it, can't get it to go.
And if New Zealand are going to be reliant on scoring...
Eldarwich explodes, and the foul has been called.
Third foul on Cameron, I think. Yep. But if New Zealand on... Such athleticism. If New Zealand on the other end are going to rely on their interior offense to produce their points, they're going to struggle, because Lebanon at the moment are doing a great job of just crowding the paint. There's nothing pretty, glamorous, or, you know, super difficult about what they're doing. They're just crowding the paint. New Zealand will have to start getting their mid-range or long-range game going. Otherwise, this is going to be a runaway win for Lebanon.
But which historically they're pretty capable.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
You've got, I mean, you go back in time, you know, so many. Phil Jones, obviously Kirk Penny, Corey Webster. Corey Webster's still part of the national team, but not here, nor his brother Ty. And reach, and they get after it, the ball, they hustle. What incredible hustle, but then they give him a chance, and it's Cameron who almost knocks in a three-pointer after that. Eldarwich a little bit slow getting up.
That's still not a great offense from New Zealand, though.
No,
they were looking for the interior pass again, and they need to step out and play some longer games.
El Shamoun launches, chance for Cruz, Pero Hunt. And he goes off the glass. That was a slick move.
Yeah, it was. Not an easy one to execute that.
Gyokchin not getting a lot of space.
Good D by Smith-Milner, just kept his eye on it.
They got chance now, they got numbers. Cameron, Cruz, Pero Hunt, he just hit a drive and he just hits a three.
That's the key, that's a big play. That hopefully for New Zealand will give them the confidence to take outside shots. This is now going to test Lebanon. How did Lebanon's defense react to this?
And it goes, Gyokchin, oh, good work. Surprised they're able to get down that deep.
And it's like continuous from Lebanon. That's a continuous tick, tick, tick. The scoreboard just constantly moves over. They get points when they want them.
Cruz, Pero Hunt, will it be two in a row? Yes, it will. Now we know why he was pulling up and shooting those threes yesterday. It's only a matter of time.
He's got his eye in. And that's going to put Lebanon under pressure now. How will Coach El Haj deal with that? What corrections and adaptations is he going to make now?
Arakci, count it!
He is unreal. You know, we've been talking about the MVP race and stuff like that already.
Oh, he's in there.
He's absolutely on that shortlist after the first couple of games.
Cruz, Pero Hunt, that was terrific. And then he followed that up with a three-pointer. But as is always the case, when Lebanon need a basket, you don't even have to ask. While Arakci just pops up.
You could close your eyes and have a fair guess at who the player is that's stepped up and taken the pressure on, couldn't you?
And that takes it back to a three-point lead. Taylor Britt has to be careful with the quick hands of Arakci.
Arakci is looking a bit beaten up and tired, though. He doesn't look as sprightly. That's not going to stop him, though.
Brett out to Menenga for three. So with Cruz Pira Hunt having the hot hand, you want to get him some touches. Good D from Timmons. And his outlet pass intended for Taylor Britt, but it was just in front of him a little bit.
10th turnover of the game for New Zealand. I'm sure Coach Cameron won't be too happy about that. That'll be an element that he looks at. Only two turnovers for Lebanon so far.
That was an outlet pass designed to run, and I'm not, so I think Timmons felt like Britt was going to be up a little bit further up the court there. Britt. And now, and they have just teed up Cruz Pira Hunt. Oh no, on Timmons.
That's the first foul, I think, yeah. And then the technical foul is on Pira Hunt. So they'll get technical free throw and shots off the back of this, I think.
They do not like you questioning, do they?
No, can't look at the referee the wrong way.
It's like, I hate to say it, but it's like, you can't say it's zero tolerance because they do hand out a warning, but after that, it's zero tolerance.
It's close to zero tolerance. It's about 0.1 tolerance. I think that's where we are. I have to admit, I don't think I've ever seen officials referee a game this tight with regards to discipline.
Well,
but the players have to adapt to that. They have to understand that's the way it's been refereed.
Before the game, this was the referee who who did last night's game when China were teed up and ejected. It's kind of like silence has descended upon the arena.
Pira Hunt now picks up his third foul as well. And he'll have to walk carefully. The wrong sentence, a gesture towards the officials now could get him a second technical and see him back in the locker room. And that would be a shame, He's come on, he's put 10 points on, he's grabbed 5 rebounds. And now he's going to have to go and sit down. Oh, in fact, has he been thrown?
Oh, is that his second? He had an unsportsmanlike as
well.
Did
he really? He did, didn't he? He's been thrown out of the game, Pira Hunt.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's heartbreaking for him and for New Zealand. That really is.
Yeah, you just lose your hottest player. I completely forgot he had the unsportsmanlike. That's about as brutal as it gets, but it's kind of what we saw last night. Credit to New Zealand, they're not overreacting, but you could understand why they would feel a little bit hard done by there.
Be interesting to see. China struggled to react positively when they lost a player. How will New Zealand now react to being down to an 11-man roster?
I wonder when the last time was a tallback was ejected from a game.
I've covered
Mike Lacey, if you're listening.
I've covered a lot of their games recently, and I haven't seen any.
I've never seen a tallback ejected. Tane Murray from the right just grazes the net. Gyakchun drives. Now Britt.
Yeah, that's the right call. That's the right call. This is a crucial phase for me now, how they close out this third quarter, because they're going to look a little bit. Yeah, they're going to struggle to come back from that. That's difficult because that was their main man, their guy that got them back into it. He'd started flowing, he'd started shooting the ball well, and really added some spice to the game, and now he's out.
Taylor Britt with the pump fake, steps inside for 2, rims out by Meninga there for the offensive rebound, and Kaya takes it away.
Just ripped it away. That's some strength as well from Hyatt.
Yeah, he's kind of wire strong, isn't he?
He is. He is deceptive to say the least.
Now Darwish drives in. Ezzedine with the offensive rebound. They stay with it. Meninga battling for the rebound, and it comes down to Tane Murray. Davidson heads up. Meninga goes in. Meninga can't quite get it going right now offensively.
I'm loving how physical this game is in the paint. I'm not going to lie. I am a fan of physical basketball. I suppose growing up watching basketball in the 90s, you kind of had to be. But it's good to see just real battles, big guys just going after it and going after the ball as hard as they can.
Well, if you like that, Smith Milner's coming into the game. Tacky Ferguson just came back. I could tell when you get on the shuttle in the morning that you're pretty physical. You kind of burst into the door. Get out of my way.
I'm ready to box
That's my
out.
seat.
I'm ready to box out straight away if anyone tries to sit next to me.
Meninga goes out. Britt, oh, he finds Smith Milner for three. Good. Well, in times of adversity, you turn to your captain, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And, you know, as I was saying, for New Zealand to win this game, they're going to have to shoot the three ball. I wasn't expecting it to be Smith Milner to do it, if I'm honest. He can shoot it. He's known to shoot it.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not a bad shooter. But if you were to look at this roster for New Zealand, he's probably not the first one you'd put top of the queue for taking that live or die three.
Kayet drives in, a little runner. Such an enormous talent.
He truly is. At that young age, to have that much of a developed game is impressive. Limoges have got a very good player there.
Taylor Britt very shifty with his passing, with his movements, and then Eldarowicz reaches in and commits the foul.
And you feel a little bit now that New Zealand are serving Lebanon a little bit of their medicine back to them, like that kind of drive has Rakji and Eldarowicz written all over it. We've seen so many of those at the other end. Britt's only got 1 point to his name from the free throw line earlier in the game. Doubles his tally now. 2 from 3 from the line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. One of those non-veteran veterans that we've been talking about, just 25 years old.
New Zealand 9 of 12 at the free throw line. Lebanon 11 of 15. Careful, don't argue. Good job by Smith Miller to call his players together. He's looking over his shoulder. We're not saying anything.
Yeah, Timmons' third foul. And actually heads back to the line for his 5th and 6th free throw.
Did you see that? Ezadine was more than willing to take that best rebounding position there. Thought he was going to sneak it. And then Timmons just kind of shoved him over. So Arakji, again, we were just talking about their free throw shooting. Takes it up to 12 of 16 for Lebanon.
Yeah, with that score as well now, he's surpassed the 20 points that he had against the Philippines. And we thought that was a good performance.
So into the game is Ali Mazir, who had the technical foul earlier for Lebanon. So he has to be careful. Taylor Britt brings it across midcourt. Smith Milner, will it be 2 for him? Not this time. Kayet for 3, that's short. Now a chance to run for New Zealand. Oh, the fake the handoff. Timmons gets inside, draws the foul from Ezadine.
And that's the right time for Timmons to go to work. You know, he needs to look across. He's seen that the lane is clear, that there's going to be no help for Ezadine coming anytime soon. Because in 1-to-1 back to the basket, offense, Timmins is pretty tough to stop.
Timmins taking his first free throw today. Flynn Cameron coming into the game, replacing Taylor Britt. Good minutes for Britt. He's played 13 minutes, 24 seconds. Got a couple of assists, 4 rebounds to go with his 3 points. All 3 of his points coming at the free throw line tonight.
Yeah, Taylor Britt's one of those kind of steady away point guards. He's not going to do anything super exciting or super dynamic, but you know you're in good hands and that the team will run well when he's on the floor.
His movement is pretty good though with the ball. He's very shifty.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Much like Dash, the captain of Korea. Here goes Eldarwich. The ball knocked away. He gets it back. Gosh, Lebanon struggling to put some opportunities away. There's Timmins again. Wow. And he just takes it all the way, and Kayet fouled from behind, and he has to be careful. Kayet. That's what.
He's fortunate that he didn't get a technical foul.
Judging from what just happened.
Yeah, he's very fortunate. I think he's getting a bit of a last warning. And that's his 3rd foul as well. So New Zealand with 3 players on 3 fouls, although one of them is now in the locker room after being thrown out of the game. And Lebanon have 2 players on 3 fouls.
Timmins makes the first, number 33.
I like those last couple of plays from Timmins. That back to the basket was good. He also read that the lane was open and actually looked pretty light on his feet, the big man.
Couple of misses for Timmins, and now Ali Nazir brings it forward. So 3-point lead for Lebanon here. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Another game that has a little bit of everything right now. Eldarwich for 3. Now the lead goes up.
Yeah, that's a big score. That's a big time to hit a 3, doubling their lead.
Tacky. Put back there. Flynn Cameron flies in for the rebound. And it's going to be Kayet and Lebanon basketball possession arrow.
Kayet is so pumped for this game. He seems to play on that edge the whole time. He doesn't relax. He doesn't, you know, the emotions never drop. He's always at kind of boiling point.
About 11-second difference on the game clock and the shot clock. That means New Zealand will get the ball to start the 4th quarter. Oh, Ali Mazera was tempted. Gyokchan, Ezzeddine to Eldarwich. And again, he explodes. And New Zealand now have time. Taki Ferguson and is able to draw the foul. And now they've called a technical foul from the bench. Wow. I'm almost afraid to talk.
Yeah,
I don't want to get a technical for commentating.
Soon. I'm starting to whisper soon.
Oh,
if the refs look this way, if they look this way, I look the other way. I can't get enough contact with them. I'm worried. I don't know what happens if we get thrown out of the game. I don't know. Do they send us back? Do they send us into the VIP room? Oh, maybe not too bad.
We have to go to the shuttle bus, which isn't there, so it doesn't come for another hour.
But interesting for me, more so, was the possession going the other way for Lebanon. Without Arakji on the floor, when the shot clock runs down and they've not run the offense they've wanted, they don't have that pressure release valve. There's no one else in that Lebanese team who steps up and goes, okay, I'm the solution to this problem in that short space of time. When Arakji's on the bench, Lebanon don't look as confident in those pressure moments.
I just looked at Cameron, and he looked over at his players and his coaches and just kind of did like this with his arm and just said, hey, listen, guys, don't say anything.
Don't even think anything, just in case they're telepathic.
Yes. So Lebanon get out of jail free card here with the 2 free throw misses by Taki Ferguson. So the technical foul that's been called on them hasn't been as
And this is a big problem
damaging.
for them. Game day 1, that was their weakness. They shot 61%. They're shooting 61% again tonight.
Ooh. He gets 1 of 3.
And that is a problem, because if teams start to identify that as a weakness, they'll tactically foul. They'll rotate players in to give up some of their fouls just to send New Zealand to the line in key moments in the game.
I think the sample size is too small, though, to determine that that's a weakness. The ball turns over, and Lebanon is, well, looking good. 58-53, but 10 hard minutes still to play. Seven threes for New Zealand, just 3 for Lebanon, but Lebanon with 8 more makes inside the arc.
It's been another interesting quarter. We see this constantly swing, probably a slightly more defensively focused quarter. Lebanon winning that one 19-17, but that said, this game is perfectly poised for the fourth quarter. We were thinking it was going to be close. Thinking and hoping, I think, is probably the right way of putting that. And they haven't failed to deliver. They've delivered a very competitive game, a really intriguing game as well. Any basketball purists out there will be enjoying this one as these two teams go to battle and the coaches go to work on trying to find the smallest of edges. Obviously, Piro Hunt being disqualified from the game adds a new dynamic to it as well. Arakji looking slightly injured and maybe a little bit fatigued will probably play a part as well in how this game plays out. But another interesting third quarter of basketball, and I'm looking forward to the fourth. I'm not going to lie, it's a very good way for us to close out today.
Well, scanning the barcode for the Courtside 1891 app, you get the video stream, schedules, and scores from this FIBA Asia Cup, and of course, all the other wonderful things that you'll find on that app regarding international basketball, especially. So New Zealand starting with possession here at the start of the fourth quarter. Been a great game, a tense game. Payne Murray back in, hands it off to Taki Farrenson. Taylor Britt whips it over to Meninga, and Meninga finally gets that 3 to fall.
That's great. That's absolutely great. And Taylor Britt again, the facilitator, just a really awkward looking hesitation dribble, gave him the space to get the lane, and then the defense had to collapse on him.
Terrific pass by Britt, and now Gyokchan answers just as he did last night.
Yeah, you don't want Gyokchan warming up if you're New Zealand. He is phenomenal from outside when he finds his eye.
Oh, Murray falls over, slips over, and looks like he might have hurt himself a little bit.
Yeah, looks like he's holding his hip.
Step back from Arakji.
And it sounds crazy, but you'd rather Arakji was taking those shots than driving to the bucket. So I don't think that's bad from New Zealand, pushing Arakji into that.
Oh, there's something wet there. Now he's gone down.
Yeah, I think they might need to stop the game and look at that, because that's 2 players at exactly the same spot. Yeah, the official's going to have a look, see if there's something on the floor that's wet.
Goodness me. What is up with the moisture all of a sudden right there?
Yeah, 2 players falling exactly the same area.
And Britt really looks like he's hurting. He's going to limp out of the game.
The one thing I would say is it looks more like an impact injury, which hurts. Don't get me wrong, but it's not quite as bad.
Bone?
Yeah, I think it might be a bit of a bruise come through.
Oh.
But I don't think it's as bad as any kind of joint damage.
It'll be a hematoma.
Have to make it sound posh, don't you?
El Shamoun for 3, and Ezzedine couldn't grab the rebound as it bounced out. Now, Cameron, and great rebound by Meninga, sensing what was coming. Murray for 3, and Taki Farrenson with a push.
Yeah, Arakji using all his experience there, getting in front of Farrenson, taking the stand and drawing the off-the-ball offensive foul.
Timmons re-enters for Smith-Milner. New Zealand 8 of 27 from three-point range. They're desperate for Tane Murray to get it going. He's 1 of 7. Farrington also in the game. He's 3 of 5. El Shimon gets it to Kayet, who gets blocked by Timmons.
That's a good follow by Timmons. Read that play from Kayet.
Farrington pulls up and gets it to drop. Friendly roll, shooter's touch.
If they can restart Farrington's jump shot, then it really opens the game back up again for New Zealand, because they do need to hit more than just layups.
Arakji explodes. Every time they need something, you know he's going to go. Then Cameron, and what a play! Wow. What a play! And it felt like Lebanon thought he was just going to stop and pop, and then Cameron just read the situation and went. With spectacular finish.
With his back to the basket, a layup over his head. That's not a bad play if you can master that one.
Gökçen, his second 3.
And this is what he did in that game against the Philippines. He started warming up, and the Philippines had no answer to stop him.
Cameron whips it to the corner. Pump fake over to Cameron from the corner. Oh, goes in and out. Timmons can't grab it. Lebanon by 6. And now they decide to hold it up.
Now for me, I'm dropping off Arakji. I'm giving him space. I'd much rather him take a slightly contested jump shot than give him that yard of pace to go past him. Give him the yard.
Oh boy, they left him open. That's number 3. Automatic.
This is unreal. You have to give so much credit to Gökçen. 2 games in a row he's had this impact.
Farrington, tough shot. Gets it back to 7. But I think we know enough now that Gökçen's got to be guarded.
And the problem you've got is Meninga is not necessarily a perimeter defender. He's happier a little bit closer to the post. Out of all the bigs, though, for New Zealand, he's the one that probably can.
Well, he doesn't hesitate. And
you can't blame him. If you've hit 3 in a row, you have the green light. You have all the green lights.
Murray. Feet set, concentrate, still can't get the drop. Murray, and now 2-on-1 break. They got to hustle back. And good job by Farrington to take away that option.
And that's smart by Arakji as well. Reading the clock, this time you've got the lead. You're not struggling to score in the half court. Slow the game down.
Gökçen was 4 of 5 from three-point range last night. Here's Kayet for 3. Hey, gets the friendly bounce. And it's a 10-point advantage. The biggest of the game.
Yeah, this is huge for Lebanon now. And
beautiful cut from Murray. Great find by Timmons.
This is a big, big test for this young New Zealand roster. This is the first time they've truly been put to it. How do they bounce back from it? That first example was very strong, but they're going to have to keep going now for the next 5 minutes.
Arledge, you know he can hit it, and he does!
It's raining threes for Lebanon.
Wow. They are 9.
That's unreal. That's unreal shooting. In the last 2-3 minutes, that's 4 or 5 threes, and it's blown the game wide open. 11-point lead now, and Coach Cameron's got to change something. On the defensive end, they've got to change. Is it a zone? Potentially go to a 3-2 zone? Well, do they play a bit of small ball?
They've got 6. Excuse me, they've got 5 three-pointers in the first 5 minutes and change here in the 4th.
Coming off, coming back here. All right, set that screen. It's a snap, though. All right, going back for the snap for you.
You got eyes on me. If 24 sets the pick and roll, we automatic switch it right now. If it's in motion, guards get a touch, chase over, so you can next on the kick out.
Back to the corner. Come on, let's go, let's go. Finish out, what? Oh yeah,
So Gökçen was 4 of 5 last night, and tonight he's 3 of 8. So he hasn't shot it as well, but he saved them.
It's the timing.
Yeah.
It's not the points or the efficiency, it's the timing.
I mean, 3 of 8 is not bad.
Oh, it's not
It's just
bad.
not as good as 4 or 5.
It's not his 80% from that game day 1, but it's just the timing, and he did exactly the same in the Philippines. It was a crucial moment he stepped on the floor and started hitting shots.
Cameron into the corner. Smith-Milner decides not to go up. He takes the foul. He can't get the drop, but he gets 2 free throws. Smith-Milner at the line today. This will be his first trip. I guess it's too early to start thinking about the clock, but the foul does stop the clock.
Yeah, for New Zealand, this is, you know, if they can get their free throw game going, this isn't a bad place for them to fight their way back in.
But they are not.
They're shooting abysmally from the free throw line.
No, I think
absolutely
maybe
abysmally.
the sample size is big enough to say this is not a strength.
The sample size is getting bigger and more worrying as the sample size grows.
Makes 1 of 2 to get it back to a 10-point game. Well, they would love to get some turnovers and whatever. Points off turnovers, New Zealand, but
Lebanon aren't turning the ball over.
No.
You know, they're a very efficient team.
Oh boy, got lost on the switch, and they survived the miss. Britt back in the game after having to leave with the injury, and off the back of the iron, Flynn Cameron.
Feels like New Zealand are losing their way a little bit now, and you know, you calling for turnovers. I just looked at the box score, 3 turnovers all night, Lebanon. That's all, 3 turnovers. They are a very, very efficient team offensively.
13 turnovers by New Zealand. Arledge, look out, left wide open. Good, wow. How about the Cedars? They go up by 13 points.
And you know, we're talking about turnovers. That's exactly the number of points that they've scored from New Zealand's turnovers.
Boy, what a finish by Taylor Britt. Under 3.5 minutes to go now. Lebanon in no rush.
Yeah, for Lebanon now, this starts to become time management. They don't want to be taking shots in the first 10, 15 seconds of the shot clock.
Oh, every time. How do you stop him? He even goes around Timmons.
The way you stop him is you're going to have to drop off him and give him that shot. You'll have to give Arakji either the 3 or the long 2. That's a travel.
Traveling to call Smith-Milner indeed.
Yeah, the wheels are falling off the Tall Blacks bus right now.
Well, it's just been a withering assault from deep by this Lebanon team, which right now is 9 of 24 overall. And the majority of those have come in this 4th quarter. And Arledge, they stay with it. Smith-Milner able to bat it to Murray. And Farrington has it knocked away by El Shamoun and couldn't quite control it. Terrific performance in this 4th quarter.
Yeah, I think we might be on our way to have our first quarterfinalist confirmed by the feel of it.
Yep. We've still got 2:29. That's a long time in basketball. But you can see that New Zealand are tired. They probably miss not having Cruz, Piro Hunt, an extra body, an extra 3-point shooter.
Yeah, certainly his shooting and his form at the time he got thrown out was a
Not
big
the
miss
best
for him.
timing.
Yeah.
Darwich drives in and scores. And the lead is 15. Taylor Britt gets it to go. Wow, with the left hand. Back to 13, less than 2 minutes remaining. Arakji's been the standout performer, 25 points, 7 assists, plus 28 efficiency. 3 steals as well for Rakji. Arledge has been sensational. 3 of 4 from deep, 15 points, 7 rebounds. Gokchan as well, who we keep talking about, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 3 threes.
And you just feel it's the experience of this Lebanon roster that has paid dividends
as well. Yeah.
You know, that's what it feels like. They've come to the business end, they've got to the crunch point of the game, and those big stars have stepped up. And it's the youngsters, the youth of New Zealand just haven't really been able to understand and read the game, read the flow of the game, and you know, execute on the floor how they needed to change in the moment. You know, it's all well and good waiting for timeouts, but you only get so many of them. You have to react on the fly on the floor, and that's not happened for New Zealand tonight. But it's a good learning lesson. You know, we asked for them to have a test to see where they were, and I think we're seeing where they are. They're a very good team, but they're a very young team.
Oh, shot clock winding down. Gokchan. Here's Cameron off to the races. Over to Tane Murray. Just can't get it to drop. Murray. It's been a tough shooting night. And the block on Smith-Milner.
And it is like running into a brick wall, to be fair, for Rakji. That's like one of those crash test dummy videos that you see of hitting a wall at 30 miles an hour. Yeah, Rakji heading out. I think Coach El Haj.
So this is really, unless we get a miracle comeback from New Zealand, just really makes their game against the Philippines huge.
Yeah, it does. It truly does.
In 2 days.
Yeah, it really, really does.
And that's good, because if they do not win that game, the likelihood is they're facing Iran or Japan.
And yeah,
if they do win, they'll play Kazakhstan or Syria.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just took some time to look through that listing and trying to get my head around where I think they are. I think they're a borderline quarterfinal team.
Right.
That's how I see New Zealand right now. Thinking about how other teams have played, and I think they're a borderline quarterfinal team. But that qualification for the quarterfinal game is really tough if they finish third in this group.
Yeah.
That's a big ask for this young roster.
I mean, the only other thing I would say is New Zealand, it might be a case of the more games they get under their belt, the better they'll become.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, this game, as much as the loss is tough to take and they didn't want it, there's a huge amount they're going to take from this game.
You don't run. Right here. Taking it out. Right. One right now. Taylor bringing it in. Right there. We got Tane right now. I want you at the 4. All right. 5 right here. We got Taki right here. All right. Zipper down. All right. You need to come up and get this catch. We're going out this way. Sprinting out. Tane, you should be running out past this way. All right. Be ready if they try to deny it again. Let's play our denial option. Until he flashes, let's get him on the back cut. All right. Taki, you're going to the rim this way. We're getting the ball in here. Snap back. We got shut the gate for Taki coming right back after there. All right. Here we go. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Who he is?
We're in Spider. We're in Spider.
I mean, Taki's played 30 minutes, 31 minutes, so he's had to, and I think maybe his effectiveness has lessened because he's had to play so many minutes.
I think so, and I think
that's because Cruz Piro Hunt was ejected.
Exactly what I was going to say. I think those two would usually trade those minutes. They're similar style players. They bring similar offensive options, but he's now had to pick up a vast amount of minutes in comparison to maybe what he was expecting.
Cameron, Taylor Britt. Well, they ran it for him, and it was on line but short. Every point counts as well. You never know.
Smith-Milner looking at the official saying, come on, man, just call the foul, as he keeps dabbing him in the back. I love that. Just a wry smile on Smith-Milner's face as he's trying to foul Gokchan to stop the clock.
Actually, talking about the points, it probably is irrelevant.
Yeah, they're not going to be in a head-to-head situation with Lebanon, so.
Or a 2-1 team, because Lebanon's not going to lose to India.
No, well, I can't imagine they would.
Absolutely not. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Taking nothing away from India, but
Yeah.
here we go.
I think I agree.
Oh, Darwich. Wow.
To the end, Meza. This has been very impressive from start to finish from Lebanon. I wouldn't say there's a phase in the game where I felt that they were struggling.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I told you, I was like, Lebanon definitely were going to win, but I was surprised by how good New Zealand were. I don't think there's any question that that was a key moment, but look at Arledge hitting the 3.
Another 3. They have been so impressive, Lebanon, to be fair.
Ferguson, he gets the 3 to drop, gets a little bit more respectability back, and they'll inbound it, and that'll be it. I'm guessing.
Oh, no.
I think he's just going to hold it, yeah.
That'll make sense.
So Lebanon, the new era of Lebanese basketball is underway. Their coach talked about it after the last window of the Asian qualifiers for the FIBA Basketball World Cup. All they've done is come out and win 2 hard games against Philippines and now New Zealand, 87-72. They are going to go to the quarterfinals directly.
And that's always a great statement to make, to be that first team that books your place in the next round. I like that as a statement. I think it's important. And Lebanon, their confidence, you just see how they're reacting to that win. And that gives some respect to New Zealand, to be fair, because Lebanon are chuffed. They're really excited by this win. And you look at the shooting percentages, 10 from 26 from outside was, and it wasn't just the 10, it was when the 10 were. That really broke the back of New Zealand. New Zealand won the rebounding battle, but they also turned the ball over a huge amount.
Yeah, absolutely. Lebanon, I think Korea, have they also, they've already clinched their spot into the quarterfinals too, on their game day too. So they're shaping up, and it doesn't mean these groups have any less drama. I guess it does mean maybe the Lebanese-India game might not have as much riding on it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the case, but the New Zealand-Philippines game, I'm asking you now, where are you going on that one? That truly is close.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think as you look at Jad celebrating, there's a lot to like about this New Zealand team. It's a young team, and they came up against a very good, well-coached team. I'm not saying New Zealand's not well-coached. It's just a young team.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
we
that,
talked
and that
about
showed.
their average age of 23 years, and you need to experience these games. You know, you look at Arakji, for example. He is a go-to man when it comes to it. Or in fact, it's not even a go-to situation. He just takes it.
He's the man. Full stop. He's the man. And that's, if I'm one of the other teams, whoever they face in the quarterfinals, it sounds strange, but Arakji's almost a weakness. How important he is for me partly the weakness. How can we stop Arakji? That's what I would be looking to do if I was the other team. I would overcommit to him. I would do whatever it needs just to reduce his impact on the game. Because then you're saying, okay, we've taken your star man away. The rest of you are now going to have to step up. I'm not saying that they're not going to step up, but you're changing something. If you just play it like New Zealand have today, then that defeats the object. You're not trying to change something could create an issue for Lebanon. So for me, try and take Arakji out of the equation. Try and, you know, make him less of a player in this game. You may have a better chance against Lebanon.
Well, Cruz Perehunt has come back out as we look at the highlights to rejoin his teammates. And this is the Arakji that we're talking about. You know, how do you stop him? You sag. I guess if you're Britt, you can't lose your man there and let him have that 3, but you kind of get into a desperation situation.
At this stage of the game, they were chasing it so hard. But yeah, for me on Arakji, I think I sag. I don't let him get layups. I don't let him get drives to the basket. I'll drop back, give him an extra yard. If that means he's going to take the jumper until he starts hitting it consistently, I'm going to give him that extra meter space, you know, those extra few centimeters, so I've got the ability to react and get my feet in front of him so he can't get to the basket. But a great job by Coach El-Haj, and you can see what it means to them. You can see how much this win and the progression in Asia Cup means to them, and they're setting themselves up nicely for a run at the podium.
Boy, they have really got something going with Lebanon, and a real fighting team. And the one thing that you have to say about New Zealand, those guys really battled as well, so that never is in question. So Group D, after game day 2, Lebanon at 2-0, New Zealand, Philippines both 1-1, India 0-2. You saw the Philippines won handsomely over India earlier today, or decisively. And the big game now shapes up in a couple of days' time. Philippines and New Zealand, the battle probably for second place. Well, they had the Haka, they had it all working, but Lebanon are a warrior team themselves, and they proved it against Philippines, and they proved it tonight against the Tall Blacks. They're in the quarterfinals.